Okay, today we're going to review 8.3, show that a quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So for this section, we actually revisit the concepts of 8.2. So here are the three that we have talked about. First, if a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, it should have two sets of parallel lines. Next, you should have two sets of congruent angles. And the last part we talked about was if a diagonal goes through a parallelogram and it's bisected, that means each segment cuts in two equal parts, then it is a parallelogram. The last part is now we have a rule that if you just have one pair of them, you can prove it's a parallelogram by the question. And then you have one pair of opposite angles that are congruent. And lastly, just a review of the diagonal rule. Again, it's one segment that goes through it that cuts in two equal parts. So this segment gets cut in a 5 and a 5. Okay, so we are going to take this information we revisited from 8.2 and now we're going to do some harder practice problems with it. So what we're going to do is problem number 1. What value of x makes this quadrilateral a parallelogram? So here is the image. So if pause the video, see if you can solve. Okay. Now I'm going to go through it. So here you have a diagonal. We know that a diagonal, if it's a parallelogram, it gets bisected in two equal parts. So I should have set up 6x minus 1 equals 4x. Now we go through and solve. Subtract 6x from both sides because those are the like terms. And then you should have gotten negative 1 equals negative 2x. And the last step is divide by negative 2 on both sides. You should have gotten x equals a half. So good job if you went ahead and did that problem. Practice problem number 2, and we're going to go through 3 of these. Practice problem number 2. Same thing. What value of x makes this quadrilateral a parallelogram? This side is 5x plus 2. This side is 4 parentheses x plus 2. Go ahead and pause the video now and see if you can solve. So as we go through and set this up, you should have set them equal. Good job. Now, the only thing is you need to go through and simplify, and we know if this is on the outside of the parentheses, we know we use the distributive property. So you should have gotten 5x plus 2 equals 4x plus 8. Now we go through and simplify. You can start with whichever like terms that you wanted to combine. I went ahead and just subtracted 2 from both sides. So if I subtract 2 from here, I have to subtract it from its like term 8. Now that brings me down. I have 5x left over equals 4x plus 6. Now I only have one set of like terms left, which is the 4x and the 5x. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides, and that leaves me with 1x equals 6, which we know x is just 6. So awesome job. Last one is here. So this problem is, what value of x makes this quadrilateral a parallelogram? So we know if the angles are opposite of each other, diagonal, they are congruent. Good job. So go ahead and pause the video and see if you can solve this problem. I have 8x and this is 80. Okay, you should have set up 8x equals 80. Last step to solve for x is you divide by 8 on both sides, and you should have gotten x equals 10. Great job, guys. Again, 8.3 is kind of a review of 8.2. If you need any help, definitely reach out to me. All right, have a great one.